faith versus belief. Do you believe what you see, or do you see what you believe? Let me know what you think. Do you believe what you see, or do you see what you believe? What's your take on this? And I also want to know whether you can see me clearly. So I think everyone is able to see me now, and loud and crystal clear, as Demetrius always lets me know. So I'm very grateful. So today is a very interesting topic, okay? And it came to me this morning when I saw this issue of the New Scientist, Our Unbelievable Universe. And then it says, why the final truth about the cosmos has yet to be revealed. Why the final truth about the cosmos has yet to be revealed. The article is actually written by a Nobel Prize winner, Jim Peebles. And Jim Peebles is a Nobel Prize winning physicist. He's the Albert Einstein Professor of Science, Emeritus at Princeton University. He was awarded one half of the 2019 Nobel Prize in Physics for contributions to our understanding of the evolution of the Earth, of the universe, and the Earth's place in the cosmos. His book, Cosmology's Century, is out this month, and I'm going to read it, and I'll do a review on that too. So the basic question again is, because all of science is based on what we call empirical evidence and observation, then do we believe what we observe? Because right now, that's the only way we do science, okay? So before I actually address today's topic, I want to come to the conclusion of this article, which is very interesting. And that conclusion is a paragraph which says, messy and incomplete. We haven't been issued a guarantee that we can make sense of the physical world around us or detect things such as dark matter. Things such as dark matter. So already an assumption that dark matter is a thing. But lest there be doubt about how well physics has been doing so far, consider how successfully scientists and engineers can command the behavior of electrons, atoms, and molecules, as well as electric and magnetic fields in cell phones. So the evidence that we should believe what we see is right here, according to Dr. Peebles, that we have all this amazing technology, even though we fully can't make sense of the physical world. We can command the behavior of electrons, atoms, molecules, as well as electric and magnetic fields in cell phones. All of this has been done based on incomplete approximations. Very important. Everything that we have achieved in the last century based on quantum physics is based on incomplete observations. Nancy Glass asked, are you feeling well? I've never felt better. My biological markers are at this moment half my age. Okay, all of this has been based on incomplete approximations. The theory of electric and magnetic fields that James Clerk Maxwell put together in the 19th century is still used in designing cell phones, electrical power grids, and so much more. But Maxwell's theory is only a limiting case of quantum electrodynamics. Here we go. Maxwell's theory is only a limiting case of quantum electrodynamics. The larger theory, in turn, emerges as a consequence of a broken symmetry in the standard model of particle physics, of which, by the way, Dr. Peebles is a major contributor, which is in turn a messy conclusion of seemingly arbitrary parameters. Surely there is something better, maybe some variety of superstring theory to be discovered. And after that, what? My point is that all physics is incomplete. I certainly don't mean wrong, I just mean incomplete. I mean that it can be improved. Maybe there's a final theory of physics, or maybe it is approximations all the way down. And so it is with cosmology, approximations all the way down. When I started my cosmological research all those decades ago, I was uneasy at first because of the subject that really was a kludge of ideas supported by pathetically little evidence. The evidence is now vastly more abundant and instructive, yet there still is the kludge, K-L-U-D-G-E, of those hypothetical components. What are the hypothetical components? Dark energy, dark matter, etc. But I do expect we can do better, allowing future cosmologists to garner their continued share of Nobel Prizes. I don't know why so much importance to a Nobel Prize, but that's the conclusion of the article. Okay, so I'll tell you what the problem is here with this article. It has to do with the headline, Our Unbelievable Universe, and why the final truth about the cosmos has yet to be revealed. So I didn't go over all the problems that Dr. Peebles mentioned, but also are well known. For example, no cause can be given for the Big Bang, number one. Number two, we do not know what happened in the Planck epoch, 10 to the power of minus 43 seconds, before the so-called laws of nature started to emerge. Number three, we do not know why the Planck epoch was so precise that in the fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a trillionth of a second, the universe expanded from the size of a dot at the period of a dot, the equivalent of a period at the end of a sentence, to the size of a grapefruit, and then suddenly slowed down. And this is called cosmic inflation. What is the cause of cosmic inflation? Why did it occur? What is happening during that? We don't know. There's something called the cosmological constant, which is a huge, considered anyway by some people, a huge confounding factor in all the theories, cosmological theories, and also has been brought to attention by many theoretical physicists, which is called the discrepancy of the vacuum or what is called the quantum field energy, and it's calculated in observed values. So the discrepancy is as high as 120 orders of magnitude, which would be unacceptable if you were flying a plane and you were told that your calculations were off by the order of 120 times of magnitude. The small value of the cosmological constant and the theoretically huge value of zero-point energy in the quantum field theories is a huge discrepancy. This kind of discrepancy would not be tolerated in any other technology, right? So what's going on? How come science works and yet we have these conundrums? We know less than 0.01% of the universe. 70% dark energy, 26% dark matter, the rest 4% invisible interstellar dust, and only 0.01% is the entire universe. So-called 2 trillion galaxies, 700 sextillion stars, and uncountable trillions of planets. This is what we see through these cosmological observations. And then we say, this is what is. So do we believe what we see? And what I'm going to say is, no. Whatever you experience through your five senses is inaccurate. In fact, what we experience through our five senses is less than 1% of reality. We experience less than 1% of the electromagnetic band. We experience less than 1% of the acoustic band. We see the body as solid and three-dimensional in space and time. And this is 1% of who you are. 1%, if that. So this is an illusion like everything else. The earth is flat, it's stationary, it's spinning at dizzying speeds at thousands of miles an hour. Objects are solid, they are proportionately as void as intergalactic space. Depends on how you ask the question, depends on how do you do the experiment, and then depends on what you observe is what you get. Okay, so if you do micro experiments, like is this a wave or a particle, then if you set up a wave-like experiment, you get a wave-like answer. If you set up a particle-like experiment, you get a particle-like answer. So is it a wave? Is it a particle? Well, it's both, depending on how you look and how you set up the experiment. There are other experiments that show that if you take kittens and bring them up in a horizontal environment, then they see only a horizontal world. If you take kittens, you bring them up in a vertical environment, then they see only a vertical world. Is the world vertical or horizontal? Depends on the neural connections of the brain, which in turn were programmed by interpretation of initial experiences. Those little kittens only saw a horizontal world. The other ones only saw a vertical world, and then the brain adjusted its anatomy to give them the experience of a horizontal or a vertical world. In other words, all perception is a learned phenomenon, and at least according to this kind of experiment and this kind of understanding, you don't see things as they are. You see things, first of all, as you perceive them, which is unreliable, but also how you interpret your perceptions, which is also unreliable. So you say, okay, we get it. In the quantum level, and it's true, wave, particle. What about the cosmological level? Well, we get other observations that are totally in violation of what you get at the quantum level. So, we can't explain gravity, for example. And although people are coming up with theories of quantum loop gravity, on and on and on. So bottom line is, we have no idea of what's going on. We believe what we see based on the questions we ask and the conditions we set up to ask those questions. The Ptolemaic universe, the geocentric universe, actually explained a lot of things. It was wrong, according to Galileo and Copernicus, right? But it could explain things like eclipses and things like that. And then Galileo came along and we said, no, it's not a geocentric universe. It's heliocentric. The Earth goes around the sun. It's the other way around. And that explained many other things. And now people are saying, well, it depends on where you're looking from and the questions you're asking. In fact, the entire galaxy is separated from other galaxies by space, and the space itself is expanding faster than the speed of light. Now, that in itself also violates the theory of relativity, which says nothing moves faster than the speed of light. So neither quantum explanations nor cosmological explanations give us a clue of what the heck is going on. Do we believe what we see? No, for the reasons I mentioned. I think I also can paraphrase Max Planck, the discoverer of quantum mechanics, who once said, when you change the way you see things, the things that you see change. Once again, when you change the way that you see things, then the things that you see change. That's a very important insight coming from one of the pioneers of quantum mechanics. So do we see what we believe? No. Do we see what we believe? Yes. We see what we believe. We do not see what is. We do not see what is. We see what we believe. And a belief comes about as a result of an interpretation of experience, which I've said is unreliable. Okay, I get we are there, I think, together. So what is faith? Because according to this now, what I've said, belief is a cover-up for insecurity. What is faith? Faith is the certainty of knowing your invisible self, without which there would be no visible experience. Once again, faith is the certainty of knowing your invisible, formless self, without which there would be no experience of form and phenomena. Do I have faith that you exist? That's all you need to know. Do I have faith that I am? Doesn't matter what the explanation is. Do I have faith that I exist? Do I have faith that I have awareness of existence? Because they're both the same thing. Awareness of existence and existence are identical. Without awareness of existence, there is no existence. So do you have faith in the phrase, I am? That's all. Of course, what is I am? I am is awareness, without which you will have no theories, no constructs, no knowing of what we call gravity or force fields or atoms or galaxies. The whole thing is being conceived, constructed, governed, and coming into experience in you. In yourself, self, S-E-L-F, with a capital S. And so what is happening? How come we are making all these amazing devices like cell phones and the internet and quantum computers and all this with very partial understanding of what's going on? Well, what are we doing? We are constructing our perceptual experience of reality based on our notions of reality. Based on our notions of reality. And as you heard earlier, these are approximations, and they are species-specific approximations. They exist only in human consciousness as math. That's it. And there's no other species that is using math to explain reality. But what I'm saying right now to you, my friends, is there is no explanation for existence. There is no explanation for anything that you experience. No explanation. The explanation is a human invention. Explanation is a human invention. And it's an amazing human invention because it created the human universe and all the technology that we use right now to communicate with each other. But who created this word? Explanation. Humans did, right? Rational thought is based on explanation, but we see rational thought is based on the explanation that takes the physical world as a given. And what I'm saying is, it's not a given at all. Okay, and what you see is how you construct your experience. There's no contradiction between, ultimately, general theory of relativity and quantum mechanics. They're different modes of knowing and experience, giving rise to different constructs that give us a different experience of reality, which we can then use to upgrade our illusion. And even technology is nothing but upgrading the conclusion. Sachin Mahajan says, if God created universe, who created God? It's the wrong question. There's no who. God is not a who. God is not a person. Okay. God, as I understand, is generation, organization, and delivery of information, energy, and matter as illusions. But the fundamental field is not subject to creation or destruction because it is not in time. It's transcendent. Something that is not in time cannot be created or destroyed. As you yourself, your soul, can't be created or destroyed because it's not in time. That's why the Bhagavad Gita says, water cannot wet it, wind cannot dry it, weapons cannot cleave it, and fire cannot burn it. It's ancient, it's unborn, not subject to birth or death. So, my friends, Arvind Johar from Bangalore, thank you for your comments. I think we are done for today. Faith is the certainty of knowing your invisible self, without which there would be no experience of your visible self or the universe. Belief is a cover-up of for insecurity, and we actually should not believe what we see, but see what we believe. And once we know that, then we know how to deconstruct and reconstruct our version of reality. That's it for today, my friends. Thank you. And Ancho from Bulgaria. No haircut, grow to a ponytail. Well, we'll see. We discussed the cosmos, ended up with a haircut.